presented in a manner that is very easily understandable. I said 10 things, 10 features or 10 characteristics of the emerging world. But that doesn't mean only 10. You are a very senior diplomat. You can say, no, there is a 11th one. There can be a 12th one. I highlighted 10. And I gave 10 solutions, 10, not exactly solutions, there are 10 things that India should do. Somebody may say, no, we can do the 11th thing also, 12th thing also. But at least you think about 10 things. You think about 11 things. So, organized thinking is also very important. Structured thinking is important. Where the best, or for that matter, today China overtakes many other countries is in their very structured and organized approach. Problem with Indians is we are very romantic. We only talk in terms of big romantic views. When it comes to, splitting it into important steps, we don't understand how to do it. So, of course, one should have that grand idea. But, one of my senior colleagues used to say that in India we produce lots of engineers. He says we don't need more engineers. What we need is imagineers. You need to have good imagination. That's not lacking, of course. But imagination, though, I mentioned about Vishwaguru. Everybody wants India to become Vishwaguru. In fact, many proclaim already that we are already a Vishwaguru. Vishwaguru is not something that you proclaim yourself. The world has to say you are my Guru. Then you are Vishwaguru. So to reach there, what I need to do. So my senior used to say that you have to have imagination, but also you do reverse engineering. If you have to be as it was mentioned by Gitaji, if you want to be Viksit Bharat by 2047, where should you be in 2045? Where should be in 2040? Where should be in 2035? Where should be in 2030? Do you do that reverse engineering, or you go in a ad hoc manner? अभी तो हम 4 पे हैं, 5 पे पहुंचेंगे. A big country, we will reach anyway. So we need to learn the art of organized thinking, setting those goals as in a very structured way. So that is what prompted me to put it in those kind of 10 plus 10 formats.
So thank you very much, both. But it's very appealing to students also that it's very clear in 10 things, and you said it's a marketing technique also. No wonder your book is doing very well. Okay, so let's pick up some of the 10 things that you said. You have come up with very innovative thinking. You are saying that in the future there will be hybrid humans or humanoids. Now, if I was young, and the age of some of these young people, I'll be very worried that the age of humanoids is coming. So, can you tell us what is this humanoid, hybrid humans that you are thinking is going to happen? Because it's a very innovative concept, but also a little frightening to us. We are used to, in the history, if we look, we didn't have anything like this. Suddenly now it's happening. So, one innovative feature that you're thinking about humanoids, can you tell us a little bit, because this is clearly futuristic. It's not anything in the past. Diplomats, we always go, or civil servants, they go by president. So 25 years ago we did like this, but there were no humanoids then. So tell us, what is this humanoids and what is it going to have an impact on all of us, especially the young, because humanoids may be coming in a few years. I may not be there certainly, but they will be there.
Humanoids are already a reality, but since you talked about precedent, I want to start with a precedent which I mentioned in the book. 45,000 years ago, we used to have whom the scientists refused to recognize as humans until few years ago. We used to have a breed called Homo neanderthals. They became extinct some 45,000 years ago, and we, who are called Homo sapiens, came into existence. We are all Homo sapiens. The human race, human genetics, takes human race origin to some 3 lakh years. So between 3 lakh years ago and 45,000 years ago, there was evolution happening. 45,000 years ago, the Neanderthals ended and Homo sapiens began their journey. Why should we think that we are permanent? Maybe in the process of evolution we may also go. But I'm not saying we will go tomorrow or day after. That process is happening now. NVIDIA, you can check it on YouTube. NVIDIA has come up with a new robo which can behave like a human. It can run, it can react to your conversations, it can do things, everything like a human. And it can do, parties. So, there are companies in India which have created robo mules in India to Indian Army. No, Indian Army doesn't have to carry its load on its back. The mule, the robo mule, it's not real mule, it's a digital mule that carries a 5-ton load on its shoulder, climbs a hill. The soldier has to simply walk along with it, and he has a remote in his hand, he controls it. So today we are already entering an era where digital mules are there, digital humans are there, and on a lighter note, among the seniors here, you think that I am a human, my body is mine. No, your heart is run by a pacemaker. It's a machine inside your heart. Remove that machine, your heart doesn't function. You are run by a machine. That is already happening, and a lot of details are there. Again, I said I don't want to disclose everything, but I gave enough examples to suggest that we are moving towards not necessarily hominoids, but meta-humans. What by meta-human I mean is a human being with enhanced capability due to technology. You have technology outside. This is a technology, this is a technology, this is a technology, this is a technology, everything is a technology, but it's outside you. You will have it inside you. For the fear of disclosing too much also, let me tell you, I gave an example of what happened in 2021 in China. We have a prohibition on experimentation with the embryos. We change it in the stomach of the mother, no experimentation should happen there. But 2 Chinese genetic scientists have manipulated 2 embryos, gave certain genetic modifications when they were inside the stomach of the mother, and those 2 children were born in 2021. The scientists were put in jail for 3 months for violating, 3 years for violating international norms. But those children were born, they are immune to 72 diseases. Meaning what? Those children won't get cold, they won't get fever, they won't get headache, they won't get stomachache, they won't get cough, they won't get cold. 72 viruses cannot affect them. They are only 3 years old now. What will be their strength when they become 15 years old, 20 years old? You don't know. You have to wait and see. But we are already creating such kind of people who are immune to viruses, immune to nature, immune to things. That's what I'm saying. We are entering into that era. Please remember, bottom line, when H.G. Wells wrote about certain things, we thought it was fiction. But today all those things are a reality. Spacecraft, space machines. This was a fiction some 70 years ago, 60 years ago in H.G. Wells novels. But today you have all of them. What you think as fiction today can become a reality soon, because that is what we are doing. We ourselves are doing. I gave a lot of examples of how we are trying to create those metaphors by creating algorithms. And countries like China are teaching how to write algorithms to primary school students. Now primary school students start writing algorithms and start creating new robots. Imagine where we will lead to.
So let me continue with this forward-facing approach that you have. Other than meta-humans, you also mentioned about, also in your lecture just now, heteropolarity, which I grew up and all my life I knew only about unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. Now this heteropolarity is a new concept for me. And you are right that there are new elements and players in this. So is Elon Musk, is he one of the poles in your heteropolar world?
Oh, of course, yes. In fact, since you mentioned about Elon Musk, let me, again, from my book, let me quote one example. See, 22 to 2022, does it signify anything to anybody? 22 to 2022. Huh? Exactly. That was the day on which the Russian troops entered Ukraine, meaning Russia-Ukraine war began. Before entering, what Russia did was, Ukraine has got some 8-10 communication satellites through which they used to manage their communications. It corrupted the ground stations of all those satellites. As a result, Ukraine lost satellite communication. Without communication, your army cannot work. Your government cannot function. Nothing can work without communication. So the Russians thought that it will be a walkover. I will simply go and take over that country. The foreign minister of Ukraine, what should he have done? Normal conventional understanding is that he would have appealed to probably Biden, President of America, or European Union, or somebody, requesting, please help me, Russia has done to my satellites, give your satellites. What Foreign Minister of Ukraine did was to tweet, using a VPN or something, to tweet to Elon Musk. He tweeted to Elon Musk saying that, Mr. Musk, you want to take people to the Mars, but here are my people who are going to be enslaved by Russia. Please help us. Within 1 hour, Musk's reply came, I am with the people of Ukraine, don't worry. I have 500 small Starlink satellites in the Earth orbit. It's called low Earth orbit, LEO. Low Earth orbit. I am giving 500 Starlink Earth orbit satellites to you. By evening, Ukraine's communication system was restored and Ukraine is fighting for the last 3 years. How do you explain? Is Elon Musk a good country? Has Elon Musk got any army? But he is a big player to support or not support sovereign countries today. I was in Hungary recently. The conference which I attended, the keynote address, the inaugural address was given by the Prime Minister of Hungary. His name is Viktor Orban. Strong man, very powerful leader in Europe, Prime Minister of Hungary. He began his speech by saying, you know, the biggest threat that Hungary is facing today. I thought he will say it's facing from Russia, China, America, some country. He said, he is from George Soros. Who is George Soros? Does George Soros have any country? Does he have any army? Why is he a threat to a sovereign country? George Soros is one of the very rich investors of US of Hungarian origin. No, he is trying to use his money power to destabilize a sovereign government. That is what I called as heteropolarity. Whom you called as terrorists until yesterday, Taliban. They are the rulers and we are engaging with them. We are talking to them. Our foreign policy officials, our foreign ministry officials go and talk to them. Whom you called as ISIS terrorists are ruling over Syria today. So, today there are multiple non-governmental forces that includes multinational corporations, big tech corporations, to, big investors, to religious organizations, to NGOs. I come from a movement which keeps on writing against Ford Foundation, a big threat to India. How can a foundation be a threat to India? But that's the kind of world we are entering into. There can be forces. Not necessarily countries, not necessarily armies, but non-political, non-governmental forces that can pose serious challenge to many countries. We don't allow certain telecommunication companies to enter India from China. Why? Because the communication company can be a threat to you. That is the kind of world we are entering, which I described as heteropolarity. We know about multipolarity, where different countries become poles, important power centers. But non-political forces can become big threat. We are already facing this situation, but that situation will further become challenging to many countries, sovereign countries. We are a big country. India is a very big nation. So we may not probably face we don't understand that challenge. But imagine small countries. The world, 80% of the world is comprising of small countries. So they will face a lot of challenges from these heteropolar forces.
I'm glad that my career as a diplomat ended before all these new things are coming up. That said, let me pick up something else that you said, and maybe you can tell us again, because you are very good at coming up with these new names, new things. So you use a term which I never listened to before, India's civilizational cousins. So, can you tell us who these civilizational cousins are? And is it like a sibling fight that we have with our civilizational cousins, or what exactly is this that you envisage our relationship with our civilizational cousins? Who are they?
So, the world has some civilizations which have very ancient but continuous existence. There are many ancient civilizations, but many have disappeared. But certain civilizations continue to exist. One of the very prominent among them is our civilization, Indian civilization. Long before we started foreign policy or engaging with countries in our neighborhood and all that, Indians had a history of engaging with the entire region, at least, if not the entire world. Not just through trade alone. Trade used to be the medium. But through trade, they carried our culture, they carried our civilizational value system to many parts of the world, especially in our neighborhood. Now, we all have heard about a small conflict that raged between Cambodia and Thailand. That conflict was about what? It was about a temple. It was about a temple complex, a Hindu temple complex that Cambodia and Thailand were fighting with each other. Please understand that in that part of the world, Hindu temples and Buddhist temples got exchanged with each other. For some period, it was a Hindu temple, then it became a Buddhist temple, then both started coexisting. If you go to Angkor Wat, both coexist. In the same complex, there is Buddha also, there is Vishnu also. It's a very mixed kind of concept. But all that went from India. Today they are fighting over it. They are not talking to India. They are talking to Donald Trump. We have to think about it. To resolve the problem of the temple, they are not approaching Narendra Modi or India. They are approaching Donald Trump or Prime Minister of Malaysia. But that aside, so India has had this kind of a vast cultural influence. We need to use it to strengthen our relations with this country. Generally, to strengthen relations, since you have been a diplomat, you all used to do G2G and G2B for strengthening relations. Government to government and government to business. This is generally conventional understanding about diplomatic relations. I said that no, why not P2P, C2C, culture to culture, civilization to civilization, people to people. The Korean ambassador came to meet me earlier this week. They have a new government, the foreign minister is going to come to India sometime later in this year. He said that in Ayodhya, we have a memorial for the Princess of Korea. Princess of Korea ko Ayodhya mein kya karna hai? One of the kings of Ayodhya went to Korea and married the Princess of Korea. So in South Korea, there is a memorial for the princess and Indian, this fellow, the Ayodhya king who went and married her. There is a memorial there, Kimse or something, that place is. I visited that place. They have a nice memorial. A memorial was built in 2022 in Ayodhya for that princess. So that is the cultural relationship we enjoy. We have between us. Prime Minister Modi ji went to Indonesia, Jakarta in 2018, and the then President of Jakarta and our Prime Minister together unveiled a big statue in the main square of Jakarta. You know what was the statue? It was Gitopadesha. Indonesia में Gitopadesha कहाँ से आ गया? But that was the cultural relationship we enjoyed with that country. And the president of the country doesn't hesitate to have Gitopadesha in the main square of one of the main squares of their capital city. That, I said, is a civilizational relationship. We are civilizational cousins. We share those civilizational bonds. Here while ending, I mentioned one very important thing. There is a very famous book by a French author called The Hinduized States of Southeast Asia. It's not available, but it's a very famous book, very well researched book. In that book, he says the Cholas, Prime Minister came here, released that coin in honor of the Cholas here. The Cholas sent their not exact armies, but their people on voyages to many of the Southeast Asian countries. So they went to these regions, and of course they took education, other things to those countries, and they also demanded that they should pay some taxes. But do you know what used to happen? When they collected that money to pay to the Chola king in Tanjavur, Tanjavur king used to say, okay, you have 10,000 rupees, I am sending another 10,000. Total this 20,000 should be spent on education, healthcare, temples, values and all that. That is the reason why you have temples right in Indonesia. Borobudur is a big temple complex. You have temples in Vietnam, you have temples in Cambodia, Thailand, but none of them ever said that Indians have colonized us. They instead said, we respect that culture even to this day. We don't say that about the British who came to India. We say that you colonized us because they exploited us, but whereas our people not exploited anybody, enriched society. They gave education, they gave value. But are we using it to today strengthen the relationship? We have to use it further. That was my suggestion when I said we are civilizational cousins. That should be an important area for diplomatic engagement.
Thank you very much. And you've now, I've been able to piece through 3-4 things in your book. One last thing before I open it up to questions from the rest. You also talk about dharmocracy. Now, all my life I grew up with the belief that it's democracy. I read again, is it saying that democracy or not?
Spelling mistake.
Yes, I thought, okay, maybe Dr. Ram Madhav made a mistake there. But then, tell us what is this dharmocracy? How is it different from democracy? Or is it the same and is it a spelling mistake by your publisher?
Definitely not a spelling mistake. But you see, that was the last part of my book. I talked about building brand Bharat. At the end of all this effort, what is it that you want to do? Like, suppose the US wanted to have its influence over the entire world in the last century. So they prepared their country for that. They built their economy, strong economy. They built many other things. In 50s, sir, you know very well how America has rebuilt its whole system after Second World War. While doing that, slowly and gradually, they gained grip over all international institutions and they dominated the world. But before dominating, they built their strengths. Some people say India is too divided, India has this problem, that problem, caste problem, we have community problem, we fight with each other. I always tell that when the US grew into a strong power, it had much bigger problems than us. The racial problem was at its peak in 1960s. It cost the lives of presidents. It cost the lives of people like, Martin Luther King. They were killed. But that problem, domestic problems remaining what they were, America had a grand vision. It worked towards it. It built roads. It built its economy while attending to its problems. So you can't say that I have so many problems. Who will think about world? You have to have that grand vision. Same is about China. China had many challenges in 80s. One of the most poverty-ridden country and lot of internal challenges. Communist Party had lots of challenges, but there was a leader called Deng Xiaoping. He had a vision. He said, okay, I have all these problems, but next 20 years, I will make sure that my country becomes great. He made China great in 20 years. Whatever China is today because of Deng Xiaoping. So, what I'm trying to say is, while you equip India, those 10 things I said have to be achieved for India. Like India has to be a united country. You can't be quarreling over religion, or caste, or this and over that, or language nowadays. How can you impose Hindi? Nobody is imposing. But if you can have, if we two Indians coming from two neighboring states, We both come from Andhra Pradesh and you come from Tamil Nadu. We both speak in a foreign language. Because we have not had any other Indian language to be a link language between us. While we respect, we develop our languages, we can try and develop one Indian language as a linked language also. It's not imposition, but it's a matter of pride. So, these quarrels have to be overcome. National unity, national prosperity, national security, national dignity. We have to do this, but together with all of them, you should have a grand vision, because once you achieve all this, then India is ready to become a big player. What will you tell the world? Same European slogans. You will also say, I am standing for democracy. Then they will say, okay, Baba, last century, so America stood for democracy. UK stood for democracy. What is it that you are offering to me? What is that Indian value that you are giving? That I called as thermocracy. We are of course democrats, no doubt. But do you know, when Nehru was asked, what will be independent India? Nehru said, we will have Westminster model, the British model of democracy. This was Nehru's answer. Nehru was very convinced about it. Of course, we are all very proud to be Democrats today. We are a very great democratic country. But Gandhi was asked the same question. Gandhi said, you see, I don't understand this Western European jargon. Although Gandhi understood, Gandhi lived in Europe. But he was a very humble person. He said, I don't understand these big words. What I understand as far as India is concerned is, in India, whatever system you bring, you call it democracy or whatever, the weakest shall have as much power as the strongest. That's my democracy. So when you build a world which is influenced by India, can you ensure that the weakest nation shall have as much power as the strongest? No, I give you an example. Can United Nations, we salute there, sir. Can United Nations begin its speech order by alphabet? Why President of United States should begin it every time? President of United States gives the first speech. Why? Why should 5 countries have a veto power in Security Council? India also wants it. We wanted to have a place. That's where I contested some of these jargon. We need a place in the high table of Security Council. 10 years ago it was okay. Now it's useless. My view, of course, ambassador may dispute with me. The reason I tell you, India is not going to get as the 6th country. When India enters, together with India, other 5 countries are ready to enter. They say, if you give to India, you have to give to me. Germany is not there because Germany was Hitler's Germany, so it was rejected at that time. Germany is a big country. It will also ask. South Africa will ask. Brazil will ask. There are 5 other countries. With 5 countries with veto power, today UN is at a standstill, not able to do anything. You can't get one fellow declared as a terrorist. You can come and kill 100 people in India, but you can't call him a terrorist because China objects it. One country vetoes it. Imagine, with 10 countries having veto, will it function? So that's why I say don't go after these things. That is passing now. Think and of building a new order. That new order should be imbued with your ideas. That is what I meant by democracy, not just politics. One last example I give you. World Economic Forum in 2024, this is new messiah for us. They will tell what should be the economic model. World Economic Forum, Geneva mein hai. They will give you good paper and country after country follows it. They gave a new paper 2024. They said, now the capitalism should be stakeholder capitalism. There is a paper. You can Google it. You will get it. Stakeholder capitalism by World Economic Forum. What is stakeholder capitalism? What they are saying is, you see, capitalism means the investor, the company. Generally what it thinks about is the profits for its shareholders, right? If I have a company, I have 10,000 shareholders, I should make sure my shareholders are happy. But World Economic Forum is saying today, no, that's not enough. You have to, of course, make sure your shareholders get enough profit, but also you have to think about a larger society in which you are working. That society should be happy. When Gandhiji said we should be trustees of our money, dharma katrutva, that is also trusteeship also is the same idea. But we never offered it to the outside world. The World Economic Forum is saying the same thing in a much coveted language. No, it is stakeholder capitalism we are lapping up. We have ideas. We need to have the strength to articulate those 10 things I said, those 10 things you have to achieve. But yeah, you should be prepared to give your ideas to the world. What kind of world you want, you should be able to tell that. That I call as democracy, but we have not worked on it so far. We want to become Vishwaguru, but Vishwaguru banke kya karoge? We don't know. We will again say, no, we are for democracy, we are against terrorism. Wo to sab keh rahe. What is that brand that Bharat is going to offer is something that we all have to think seriously for this new world, what is it's going to offer. That's what I meant by democracy.
Thank you, Dr. Ram Madhav. But now I think I will open to young people who can, from each place, one question each, so that they will be able to raise issues which we have not covered, because your book is a very vast expanse.
Checking. Hari Om, Dr. Ram Madhav ji and Ambassador Syed Akbaruddin ji. I'm Pratesh, part of the Youth Empowerment Program of the Chinmaya Mission. Thank you for the opportunity.